r/relationships. Nervous _film _8123 says, I 33 male, stayed with my wife 29 female, after she cheated. A little over a year ago I caught my wife cheating. Her affair partner sent her an illicit Snapchat that I saw. My whole life came crashing down. We've been together 10 years, have 2 children together. I paid for her to go to school and moved for her job, and then she cheats on me with a guy she meets at the workplace that I helped make possible. Devastated, but pride myself in logical decision making even in these emotional situations. I decided to try to work it out, as she said it was out of curiosity, which I empathize with, since we got together when she was 18 and I was 23. So I had my experiences where she didn't. I think life is all about experiences. But she loved me and quit her job to show me that she was serious about breaking it off with him. I told her I could never trust her again and that I was only staying for the good of the kids. After a few rough weeks we were able to get it together and be good in front of the kids, and the situation grew to us being more open, knowing we were faking the marriage from basically co-parenting in the same house to being able to be friends. Yes, we agreed our marriage would be open since we weren't really together emotionally or physically. I would tell her about my exploits out of spite and she seemed genuinely interested and happy that I was living life, and then she started to too. It evolved from us just living as practical roommates that happened to have kids together to best friends who tell each other random hookups, dates, and we came back around to sleeping with each other again. I guess I'm worried about how toxic this can become, even though it seems great right now. I know people say all the time I'm married to my best friend. But this is different for obvious reasons. We are free to do whatever and say whatever without boundaries, but there's a reason other romantic relationships aren't like this. Right? Too long. Didn't read. Is it toxic that my marriage turned into a friends with benefits raising kids together type situation after spouse? Lemma help IAO, it says. Half of marriages already end in divorce. Monogamous marriage is an idea from puritanical times, when we used to only for 30 years anyway. The lifetime marriage system is already broken for a lot of people, but we just don't like to really think of it that way. People will criticize what you're doing now, but be totally okay with 2 monogamous people staying together for the kids who clearly hate each other's guts. If you guys are happy, if the kids are safe and taken care of, and your respect and love for one another is even stronger with this new setup, then who cares if you're not living a typical marriage? Supermatthew 70-21 says, it's probably better to divorce. If one of you finds someone else, what do you tell your kids? What would the kids think if they one day find out you two are basically in a meaningless marriage? I'd be better to divorce and co-parent than fake being together, as the truth comes out eventually, and when it does your kids may or may not be upset with you for lying to them however many years. Funky Monkey 5 says, never stay with a cheater. Opening _track _1227 says, man, Become is doing a lot of work here. You are already past toxic. Get a divorce, still co-parent, move out, and move on. Jackie Arford says, I disagree with the narrative that someone missed out on life by getting in a committed relationship as a young adult. No one pointed the gun to them. The majority of times, they walked into it out of their own volition. Their youth was not stolen, they invested it in the relationship. Broddock 22 says, I'm going to be brutally honest and say this sounds really toxic and incredibly unhealthy for you, and you need to re-establish on your own sooner rather than later. Equivalent _salary 379 says, bro, why the hell are you still married? If it's over, no sense in just being married friends. Either reconcile, which at this point might be impossible, or get divorced and split, which is the most amicable decision. Why would you want your kids to live in a household with no love? Super _hippo 8069 says, Frickin' hell, there are some small-minded people on here. Relationships work in a million different ways, and children grow up perfectly happily and healthily in different relationships. Palmint says, "No, I'd look out for number 1 bud. The audacity of paying for her school and moving for her job, and she cheats with a co-worker. OC was curious. Well, curious your ass up the road. And that's not an emotional decision." Joe Dirt 1001 says, "If you are going to stay together, then actually stay together. And if you don't to actually be married to her, then now is the perfect time to divorce and just be friends and good parents. Faking it for the kids never works." Italian_mobking says, "Yes, it is on the toxic side in the sense to where one of you is gonna get attached while the other one will find a partner and wanna/need to leave. This won't necessarily end cleanly." McFlagen says, "I short, yes. Incredibly toxic, poor kids." r/relationships. Alarmed Ad 4891 says, "Am I in the wrong for telling my partner not touch me in certain spots? My partner 24 female and I 26 male have been dating for over a year and a half now, and throughout our relationship I have had to repeatedly tell them not to touch me in a few certain non-sexual spots because I'm ticklish and or it triggers me/makes me uncomfortable. The problem? When I flinch, push their hand away, move away from them, or tell them to stop, sometimes repeatedly before they finally stop, they get sad, offended, and upset and take it very personally. I know my partner has their own insecurities among other things, but I don't think I'm asking for too much. Am I? Nor do I think they have a right to be upset about it. Especially since I have to respect when they say no touchy, and any negative reaction from me is immediately called out. I know I have authority over my body more than anyone, but could I just be being a big baby? Should I just get over it cause I know they're not trying to make me uncomfortable or tickle me? Help me out here, Edit. Am I in the wrong? Too long. Didn't read. I don't wanna be poked, prodded, and tickled sometimes, and my partner doesn't like that. Am I in the wrong, or do they need to get over it?" A reimage says, "No means no, and it should only be said once. Dump her. Once she knows, hey op said poking him like this makes him uncomfortable, she knows poking makes you uncomfortable, and she should stop doing it. She can't plead ignorance. Find someone that respects your no." Jiltro says, "Why are you dating someone that has zero respect for you and your bodily autonomy? A year and a half of being with someone who thinks your comfort is an attack on him? Girl, what are you doing?" Cecilia B says, "You're not being a big baby. If anything, you're being too accommodating of your express boundaries being violated by someone who claims to love you, and too accommodating of the boohoo guilt trip that comes right after. If your words aren't being taken seriously, then it's time to take whatever the next step is." Token_or_token_upus says, "It's been a years. Why are you still with her?" Trumpetscalor4 says, "No is a complete sentence and a perfectly valid reason to not want anything with anyone. I'm willing to bet that if it were the other way around, she'd gladly call you an asshole who didn't respect her boundaries." I_like_your_unit says, "No. Your partner needs to respect your boundaries. They clearly understand what consent is because they also have areas that you aren't allowed to touch. Consent also applies to men, and if they can't understand that, then they don't have any business being your partner or anybody else's for that matter." Vainglorious Vendetta says, "My ex asked me to stop stroking her hair because she was afraid of her hair coming out. I was super bummed out about it because I love stroking hair, but I shut my mouth and didn't do it again cause that's how consent works." Paleontologist Few 662 says, "You're not wrong. Continue to advocate for yourself and your needs." Rosido says, You have the right to say no to any contact, anywhere, by anyone, at any time, and that is immutable. If she can't handle following your wishes, she doesn't respect you and doesn't understand you. Anyone who believes they have a right to do what they want with your body is a danger, even if it is only to your ability to trust. Give her an ultimatum: she respects you and your wishes, or you find someone who will. Edit, pronouns. Prolapsus says, "Now I have similar sensitivities and it's honestly never been an issue with partners. Your BF is the weird one for not respecting your boundaries in this situation. It's very unempathetic." Pisa Lavido says, "He needs to learn to respect your no." Queefnada Shark says, "Your partner is pushing boundaries and trying to make you feel bad when you react. Dump him. If he can't take a no for something so small, how in the frick can you trust him to respect a no if bigger issues come along later?" That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.